What's up, guys? Welcome to another Tribe Conversation. You know my name is NK.
And I'm Kayla. And we're with
Ntando.
This is another conversation on the anti-bullying campaign called Plastic, and we're excited to have Ntando here with us. Oh, whoa. He should be excited to have us here. His face.
You guys are welcome.
Thank you.
Cool, so we're gonna go jumping into our marshmallow challenge that we have set. Okay, cool. This is straight up full of
So it was supposed to be a surprise, but then she was like, oh, so we're gonna do the chubby bunny challenge, and I was like,
I did it
oh,
more
what?
than
Yeah.
once. It was like a few blonde moments. I have no excuse.
So we just stuff as many as we can in our mouths.
Yeah.
And then
Why are these so big?
And we individually count, right? So I could put like 5 in my mouth, but actually I've got 10, and then nobody
No,
would
you
know.
can't cheat.
Okay, no, I won't do that. I won't do that.
Puppy.
Yeah.
2, 1,
go.
Do you guys need to say something?
That I won!
Hey guys, so that was our icebreaker, and we have the man of the match. Give us a drum roll right there. Out with one hand. And how do you feel about being man of the match?
Yeah, it was a tough game after all. It got to that place where it was very tough early on.
Okay, so after we've done the chubby bunny challenge,
Yeah, that
do you
was quite
mind telling us a bit more about yourself and what you do, and yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a young person like you guys are. I'm 23 years old, and yeah, I'm currently an entrepreneur with business interests within the media and the technology space. And I'm just someone who really has a deep conviction for making a difference, and really being intentional about building something which won't necessarily only benefit me, but will hopefully someday add value to somebody else and might inspire somebody else someday to be like, hey, you know what, if he was willing to make the necessary sacrifices to believe that nothing is impossible and actually go out and do something with his life, then so can I, because he's also just a normal human being just like me.
If you want animal, what would it be?
If I was, I'd be an eagle. Reason being is, they say eagles, they can fly higher than any other bird, and they can see further than any other bird. And again, I heard this it was a TED talk or something, whatever it might have been, like a while back, and the speaker was saying that, unlike other birds, obviously when things get a bit turbulent, what an eagle does, that rather than kind of getting lower back to the ground, they're able to kind of actually fly higher above the turbulence and all that kind of stuff, whatever it might be. And it's actually said that, there's actually been times when pilots have been said to have seen like eagles while they were, getting into the. So if I was, I think I'd be an eagle based on those characteristics, if I can put it that way. So yeah.
Sure. You know what song that just came to mind when you had said like eagle and he's like flying and whatnot? Soaring.
You're back.
Oh, okay.
So, what's your thoughts on bullying?
So, yeah, obviously it's really something which I believe no child or anyone should ever go through. I mean, you know, you just then, again, I say because it's mostly children that go through bullying. I mean, you don't really see grown people in an office. I think it's probably termed differently when it's in those spaces. So I really think it's something, it's not nice. It's not something any child should go through, you know, especially at a place where as a child, you're still kind of figuring life out, you know, and all you're trying to do is just be accepted or be loved, etc., etc. And you know, the last thing you need is, you know, someone making you feel like an outcast, etc., etc. And actually, you know, just bashing your self-esteem before you actually develop it, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
So in the light of what you say, have you ever been bullied yourself through your high school years or even now?
Yes, actually, you know, interesting saying that whole thing about, you know, between the ages of 5 and 7. So with me, it was always a thing of, I was like growing up, I was very skinny, like extremely skinny. So obviously, you know, like kids would be like, hey, they'd call you, hey, chopsticks or chicken legs or whatever it might be, you know, kids, that whole thing they do. Exactly, and I think I remember because I moved from Durban to Cape Town, so obviously there, and then when I moved this side, I had a thing where I ate more and I started gaining a bit of weight, etc., etc. And then now it's a thing of, you know, I've got chubby cheeks and all that kind of stuff. You know how kids can get, but obviously it wasn't that bad.
Just switching from the one to the other one.
Exactly, so it was also something I was always conscious of, you know, I'd overeat to a certain extent. I never really got overweight or became obese, but it was just a thing of I was very conscious of, if I can put it that way. And it literally just got to a place where, like I think it was around grade 9, 10, when I was about 15, 16, I literally picked up a book, and that was probably like the first book I ever read. It was, I don't even know, it was, the book was just laying there somewhere, you know, whatever, and I was like, okay, whatever, I'm just sitting here, and I read it, and the book was pretty much a book on potential. And I think that was probably a book which really, really kind of changed the way I saw things, in the sense of where I think the author made a statement which probably changed my life for, you know, the best, where he said, comparison is the greatest breed of mediocrity. Yeah. And what the analogy he kind of uses to kind of get his point across was, there's a thing he wrote in Germany called the Autobahn, and he says a lot of people, we don't actually know what our potential is, if I can put it that way. Unlike a car, you can see the speedometer, and potential's not anything that you've done, it's everything that you can still do. So if you've achieved something, it's no longer potential, it's been done. And he says the biggest thing with human beings is that we kind of live comparing ourselves to other people, and that's like being on the Autobahn, and your car can drive 200 miles per hour or 200 kilometers per hour for the South African, you know, and you know, because whatever, exactly. So, but what happens is that the person next to you can only drive 160 kilometers an hour, but because you're obviously always comparing yourself to them, you literally, rather than looking at how fast you could go, which you don't know as a human being, you're literally always looking over at your neighbor or whatever, the guy driving another car, and you're like, oh, he's driving at 160. Okay, let me also drive at 160. We must be, you know, going at the same speed, etc., etc. So, again, that was pretty much my experience, and that's something which really kind of helped me. And ever since then, I've just always been very driven on, you know, personal development, and just kind of always understanding what's the best person I could possibly be. So yeah.
So I think it's quite clear that bullying is not a great thing to, you know, to experience. How can you help eradicate, or what ways do you think you can help eradicate bullying itself?
Okay, personally, I would say, and again, I don't know, I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. I think the most important thing would be, you know, I think parents have a big role to play in this, and, you know, helping their children to develop a healthy self-esteem, if I can put it that way, because personally for me, I'd say, again, I mean, if someone really feels good about themselves, if they really feel like, you know, they're worthy, they won't see the need to go out to somebody else and say something nasty, you know, in the context of kids now. But I mean, if you come out of a home and your parents, you know, they teach you good values, they teach you that, you know, hey, respect people and, you know, love people, care for people, because at the end of the day, we all go through stuff. I mean, you know,
everyone has their battles.
Exactly. I mean, everyone comes to one place. Yes, we might be all on the same road within a certain environment, but the reality is we're not all going to the same place. We don't all come from the same place. Because, I mean, you could even use the context of there's some place, I mean, I've been to schools where they were fairly, you know, people are doing really well, and there was people who weren't doing so well, if I can put it that way. And I mean, maybe, for example, on Civies Day, if some person comes and they're not wearing the latest name brands, you know, just to teach your child that, hey, you know what, you might be a bit more privileged than someone else might be, but that doesn't give you the right to, you know, kind of say, ha ha ha, hey, look at your shoes, ha ha ha, what's that, you know, pep stores. So again, I think
live up to that standards.
Exactly. So I honestly believe that that would be a good place to start. Yeah, I mean, if parents were involved in, you know, just helping their kids personally to develop a healthy self-esteem, if I can put it that. And I use the term healthy because, again, you know, if something is healthy, then it's positive in terms of the people who come in contact with it, if I can put it that way.
Yeah. On that note, in terms of maybe schools or teachers and possibly even friends, how would you say anything about how to help them eradicate? Do you have anything to say on that besides parents, schools, teachers?
Yeah, I think in terms of you know, children and I mean, friends and stuff like that at school, I think an important thing would be is, again, you know, there's a statement that says, I might be saying it wrong now, but I'll paraphrase it as, you know, evil prevails when good people say and do nothing, if I can put it that way. And there's a lot of good kids out there, if I can put it that way, but sometimes they might see someone getting bullied and they might be like, oh no, I'm not going to get involved because X, Y, and Z, people are going to think this of me. But literally, you intervening, you getting involved could literally be, you know, the best thing that kid might need, who's the victim of bullying, if I can put it that way, because they could be on their last straw and be like, you know, nobody cares about me, you know, everyone just bullies me whenever I go there, I don't want to go to school. But literally you standing up and being like, hey, dude, this isn't cool, or whatever you think it might be, but it's not cool. Like, that kid could be like, wow, like someone actually cares, and, you know, someone is actually willing to stand up for me. And that could literally be the glimmer of hope that says, hey, you know what, actually I'm gonna go back tomorrow because there's actually someone who stood up for me, and someone, you know, who kind of cares about what I might be going through. So yeah.
And putting someone like before you, if that makes sense, because like you said, being scared of that's gonna come to you and XYZ and make fun of me and stuff like that. Whereas that's thinking of myself and what would happen to me. But if you step out of that comfort zone and you're like, that doesn't matter. Someone's life depends on it. If it could go to that point, right? And just putting someone in front of you, but before yourself. Does that make sense? Okay. And if you, like, especially with you that have experienced bullying and is against bullying and all that, what advice would you give your younger self being bullied, as well as those that is busy going through bullying or that's facing bullying?
The best advice I would give someone who's currently a victim of bullying, or, you know, who's going through that, I think would really tie in with you know, the statement which I just made, which really helped me, if I can put it that way, which is, again, you know, you will never look like somebody else. And I think there's again, not everyone watches might believe in God, but there's a scripture in the Bible that says, you know, I knew you before I formed you and I set you apart, if I can put it that way. And I think for me, that was really something which really helped me and continues to help me to understand that as a human being, you know, God, who created you, never created you to fit in, you know, because he knew you before he formed you in your mother's womb, and he set you apart before you were born, which means that, you know, fitting in was never part of the plan, if I can put it that way. And I mean, if you look at it this way, I'll use an example which probably everyone will be able to relate to, is if there was 2 Cristiano Ronaldos in the world, there would not be as much value in Cristiano Ronaldo being Cristiano Ronaldo, because your value as a human being, your value as a human being is in you being different, if I can put it that way. And I think that's probably the best advice I could give to anyone, is that, you know, just own being different. Again, you know, you as a human being, you have value, and that value, a key part of it is in you being yourself. And I mean, for example, if I could go back to, for example, I mean, there was a time when, you know, everyone was gymming and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I want to look like that guy, I want to look like that guy. You know, people start taking stuff and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, there's pressures like, oh, if you don't do it, then you're not cool because you're not getting there as quick as they might be getting there. But all in all, and I think, you know, it's stuff like that which taught me valuable lessons that, hey, you know what? I'm going to get there if I just keep on working hard, if I just keep on focusing on the best person that I can possibly be. And I think that's literally the best advice I could give is that, you know, as a human being, you weren't created to fit in. You know, the fact that you're different, it's not weird. You were created to be that way. And don't succumb to, you know, always wanting to fit in, be accepted, etc., etc. If you're not the best looking guy around, it's okay. You're still a good looking guy. I mean, for me, myself, it's one thing I was like, it's very unlikely. There's 7 billion people in the world, and you know, it's very unlikely that I'll be the best looking guy, be it, you know, except, but I can be a good looking guy and I can, you know, be the best person that I can possibly be. And I can just focus on really being the difference wherever I am, if I can put it that way. So
And knowing your worth, like what you had said a bit earlier, your worth and value and where that lies, and your identity and who you are is set and it's quite firm, then I think that would help a lot as well, because knowing that what you do, what people say about you, what you say about others doesn't define you, and it shouldn't define you, and just like finding that ground of who you are and your identity and where that lies does play a big role.
Yeah, I mean, on that, being different, we all have our own story, and sometimes on the road to success, some people could be on chapter, let's say 7 of their lives, but you meant to go in this pace that you are going on right now. And so I think sometimes like comparison and just looking at someone else's car and thinking, oh no, I need to be at 160. When your speed, your potential is 260 or whatever, and that kind of can damage you a little bit. And so it's really nice just you putting that out there and just really making us think, and also hopefully the ones watching at home are thinking about that and are being impacted by your story, and the challenging questions that you've given them to answer. So thank you for allowing us in your home, and
thank you for being here. Thank you. I hope my coffee was good. I hope my coffee was good. You know. Thank you.
So thank you so much, and for sharing your knowledge and wisdom and your experiences. It's really, you know, it really challenges me as well, you know, being a victim of bullying and also being on the other side as well. It makes you think back and just how it's good to know who you are and that you're on a different lane than anyone else. Continue that lane, and remain positive.
Thank you for joining us. Cool.
Come on,